Alright, part 6 of my Halloween suggestion videos, and this is going to be the final one. I have other horror movies, but I decided not to show them because some of them I showed last year, I decided not to. But this is going to be the last Halloween suggestion video for 2020. And I decided to not show my other horror movies. It's just a random choice. Please don't get mad at me. First one I picked is The Ice Cream Man, starring Clint Howard, Ron Howard's brother. He was good for this role. I mean, he's a cool guy in real life, but he does have that scary looking face. So he's sometimes getting typecast as a small villain in movies. You know what I mean? But he was cool in this. I like this movie. And I used to get confused. The other Here Comes Mr. Ice Cream Man, the other video like this one has a killer ice cream man, but it's not Clint Howard. It's the other one. You have to search for it. I think it's called Here Comes Mr. Ice Cream Man. But I remember seeing the other cover with Clint Howard, with the different cover of this years ago at my video store. The 4 movie collection, the Hollywood hits, Hostel Part 2, The Tattooist, and the BTK Killer. The Hunt for the BTK Killer. The Tattooist is scary, but it's not that scary to me. But I still recommend this. Recommend the Tattooist because I love getting tattoos myself. Hostel, and especially the first one, because to be honest, I haven't seen part 2 yet. I told you I'm picking my movies. I'm going to see part 2 one day. Hostel, the first one, it's a cool film too. The next one is really it's not scary, but it does involve a death in this film. It's kind of has a horror element. The Little Shop of Horrors with Rick Moranis as Seymour Krelborn. This is one of my favorite musicals of all time. I like Grease, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and The Little Shop of Horrors, and so on. I haven't seen Mamma Mia yet, but yes, I do love musicals, movie musicals. And no, I've never been to a Broadway show in my life. Sometimes I do want to go to a Broadway show, but that's mostly in New York City. I live down south, and I don't have the money to travel right now, especially with this coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? But this is really a remake of I think the 1961, directed by Roger Corman. I remember Dick Miller, who was in Gremlins, and the lady who played Audrey in the original one were both in Gremlins as a married couple. But this is a great film. It's a good musical. It's got cool music as it. I'm sorry. It's got cool. I'm sorry. I'm doing it again. It's got cool music in it as well. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long. The next one is Whichever Massacre from Camp Motion Pictures, one of the retro 80s collection. I might as well say this since this is going to be my last video. I also recommend Video Violence. I already showed Ghoul School and Cannibal Camp Out, also directed by John McBride, but I don't own Cannibal Camp Out yet. But it's about John McBride's character and his 2 siblings. Yeah, I think they played almost themselves. Denise, John, what was the other kid's name? Tom, yeah. Their dad is on a business trip, and they invite their mean aunt, their bitchy aunt, to babysit them, and they accidentally kill them. They stuff her in the wood chipper to dispose of the body, but her pain in the asshole, evil son comes and tries to steal stuff from them, but they kill him too. It's really a cool movie, and this is Sean C. Phillips, A.K.A. Cool Duder's favorite film of all time, one of his favorite films of all time as well. Friday the 13th Part 2. I already showed Friday the 13th, the VHS one. This is the only Friday the 13th Part 2 on DVD I have. I also recommend Part 1, of course, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, Part 6, Part 7, and Jason Goes to Hell in Part 8. I know most people didn't like Part 8. What was it? The one where he was on that ship going to New York City? But it's okay. It's not the best. Maybe they were, jumping the shark Part 8. I don't know, but This Jason, this is no, the first appearance of Jason was in Friday the 13th at the end of the movie, but this is the first of all the series that he's the killer, but he doesn't have that hockey mask. This is the look I really like better for him, if you can see it. The sack, I'll call it the sack, but this is really a cool one too. I'm almost about done. One of my all-time favorite 80s zombie films, The Return of the Living Dead, Part 1. I already showed Part 2. And I lost Part 3. I had Part 3 kind of a bootleg, but I didn't. Somebody made the DVD for Part 3 and I lost it a couple years ago, I think. But I recommend, Part 3 too. The very first one is a classic about those teenage punks going to the cemetery and that 2,4,5 trioxide, when it rains, it spills over and zombies come back to life. Not really alive, but they come back to life, eating for brains. I mean, their hunger for brains. Part 2 was like the horror comedy, and Part 2 is my personal favorite. I don't know why. I guess to me it's so 80s or late 80s, like this one. Part 3 was alright. It didn't involve it involved the 2,4,5 trioxide, but it didn't involve it didn't have Tom Matthews and James Cameron reprising the roles, and it didn't have a cemetery where the zombies pop out. The zombies in Part 3 were really more scarier than Part 1 and Part 2, in my opinion. Even scarier than the Tar Heel Man, but that's just me. If you've seen Return of the Living Dead Part 3, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I do recommend Return of the Living Dead, directed by Dan O'Bannon, may you rest in peace. And I think the producer, Tom Fox, who also produced Part 2. I don't know if he produced Part 3. I know he's dead too. May they both rest in peace. And James Cameron is also dead. May he rest in peace. And I know the actor who played Suicide, he's dead too. He was also in Part 5. So was Miguel Nuziak. Miguel Nuziak is still alive, but the actor, I forget his name. He passed away, I think, in 96. I think it was 96, but he was, like I said, he was in Friday the 13th, Part 5 too. May he rest in peace. The last two is mostly the shockumentary series, like Traces of Death. I've seen Traces of Death years ago, back in the 90s, and I've seen some of it again on YouTube. I really wasn't shocked, to be honest. I mean, these are the films that's supposed to shock you, because this is like a real life horror. Some scenes I probably was shocked, but not really shocked as in, you know what I mean. But this is Faces of Death Part 1. And Part 4. I don't know in Part 2, Part 3, or Part 5. I don't know. I forget if they made Part 5. I know they made Part 2 and 3, duh. But this is the only films I own. And I think this wasn't the real shockumentary, but of course, Traces of Death and the other films like Faces of Gore, they are, they do show real gruesome deaths. But this one is mostly just a documentary, but almost, it looks, you can kind of tell it's a documentary. It's hard to explain, but that's all I'm going to say. I decided not to do a Part 7, but I already showed some of my other, especially the kids ones, the movies that are made for kids or TV shows. I showed them to you last year, like Are You Afraid of the Dark and the Scooby-Doo cartoon series, so I decided just to make this short. Maybe I'll do one next year, 2021. Coronavirus or no coronavirus, it doesn't matter to me. I just love doing these films. Doing these videos. But anyway, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed my Halloween suggestion series, video series. Oh no, I'm stuck in this chair. Oh. I'm about to end this video, and please subscribe to my channel if you want to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to say my famous catchphrase. I haven't said this in a long time. You don't have to like me. You don't have to respect me. Just please subscribe to my channel, man. Anyway, have a good day, and I'm out.